This video is going to be flat out jam-packed with Red Sox news. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbett. Thank you very much for clicking on this video. Yesterday was an incredibly hectic day for the Boston Red Sox. Not only was it an absolutely ridiculous game on the field, but we got a whole lot of tidbits off the field as well that could have really big implications on the Red Sox going forward. And to be honest with you, I couldn't decide which one to make a video about, so we're just going to make a video about all of it and hope that we could fit it into one singular video. And we're going to start with the on-field stuff because Wilyer Abreu had himself a night last night. In fact, he had himself a historic night last night. If you missed the game yesterday, the Red Sox faced the Cincinnati Reds. They absolutely crushed Chase Burns. Garrett Crochet did not look like an ace last night, which is going to happen from time to time, right? He's not going to give you 7 innings, no-run ball every time he's out there. And the Red Sox offense absolutely exploded. Wilyer Abreu was the face of that because not only did he have an inside-the-park home run in the middle of this game, which was, by the way, the first time Wilyer Abreu's ever hit an inside-the-park home run. That's kind of funny to me, considering like Little League and stuff. It feels like everyone's hit an inside-the-park home run in Little League, but besides the point here, he hit an inside-the-park home run last night, which marked the first time a Red Sox player has hit a inside-the-park home run since 2018. Eduardo Nunez, man, I'll forever miss that 2018 team, man. Every time you have a chance to talk about him, you got to talk about him. It was also the first time a Red Sox player has hit a inside-the-park home run at Fenway Park, specifically since Rafael Devers did it back in 2017 playoffs, but during the regular season, it was all the way back in 2011 with Jacoby Ellsbury. Honestly, I think Jarren Duran's triple with an error in there probably should have counted as an inside-the-park home run as well, but that's an entirely different conversation. Basically, it's been a pretty long time here since the Red Sox have recorded a legitimately true inside-the-park home run at Fenway Park. But Wilyer Abreu did not stop there. In fact, he continued to add on to what would end up being a really historic night for the Red Sox because later in the game, he said, nah, inside the parks are cool, but I want to hit one over the fence, and decided to do it in the grandest fashion possible, putting a cap on this baseball game by hitting a grand slam as well. Now, not only is this the first time the Red Sox have had a player hit an inside the park home run in a conventional home run since Pokey Reese did it all the way back in 2004, it's a very rare thing to see both a grand slam and an inside the park home run in the same game. In fact, only 5 players in Major League Baseball history, now including Wilyer Abreu, have done exactly that. This was the first time a player has done this since Roger Maris did it back in 1958, and it's only the second Red Sox player ever to do it, the first one being Jim Tabor back in 1939. Honestly, relatively impressive that there is another Red Sox player that's done this, right? It feels like, okay, you got 30 teams in Major League Baseball. Obviously, some have come and gone, but for that only 5 players in baseball history and 2 of them to be on the Red Sox is really, really interesting to me. Despite this, the Red Sox right fielder was incredibly impressive last night, and he's been incredibly impressive for the Red Sox since coming back from injury. In fact, in the 10 games he's been back, he's slashing .324 with a .343 on base percentage and a .647 slug, good for a .990 OPS. He's been everything this team has needed and more at the plate since coming back, which is awesome. And the inside the park home run, I think that kind of gets lost in all of this, was actually off of a lefty, which is something that is really, really important to see Wilyer Abreu's progression, right? That's sort of the big thing. He really great against righties, not very good against lefties. They haven't been really playing him against lefties so far this season. He gets an at-bat against one and absolutely smokes a baseball. So really, really great to see there as well. But overall, very impressive stuff last night from Wilyer Abreu. Now, we could keep breaking down this game and all the intricacies that took place in this one because there was a whole lot to talk about, but the other 2 set of news items I wanted to focus on in this video actually have nothing to do with the play on the field last night and everything to do with the potential future of this 2025 Red Sox team, because one of them is the fact that Alex Bregman may be coming back a whole lot sooner than we initially anticipated, because before yesterday's game, we get some really intriguing news. First and foremost, Alex Cora came out and told media that Alex Bregman's feeling 100%, which is crazy, right? Because a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about Bregman coming back after the trade deadline. Now, all of a sudden, he's feeling 100%. We got videos over the last couple of days of Alex Bregman taking ground balls, hitting in the batting cage, throwing around the field a little bit, all with a weighted vest, which, by the way, I think makes everything a little bit more impressive. Like, yeah, it's impressive to watch a baseball player do what they do, but to add 15 or 20 pounds or whatever he's got in that vest onto it, I just think is pretty impressive. Totally besides the point here, but you're starting to see real legitimate baseball activities from Alex Bregman. For Alex Cora to come out and say, yeah, he's feeling close to 100% is absolutely incredible and huge, honestly, massive for this Red Sox team. Now, on top of that, we also got Alex Bregman himself, who once again spoke about how he's open to an extension with the Boston Red Sox, which, by the way, Breslow, if you're watching this, you need to get it done, right? You have to have Bregman here for more than one singular season, especially after trading Rafael Devers, especially with the way the team is set up going forward. You need Alex Bregman. Make sure he's here longer. Again, it's kind of besides the point here. I feel like I keep getting off on tangents about Bregman. The other thing that Bregman said himself, really, really intriguing to me, is that he believes or he thinks that he could end up coming back to the Boston Red Sox actually before the MLB All-Star break. And this, to me, is even bigger news than Alex Cora saying he feels 100%, because that's officially putting a timetable on things a little bit, right? You've got basically 2 weeks from today until the MLB All-Star break, which begins, July 13th or 14th, somewhere in that range, right? It's basically next week full of games, and then you're off starting Monday. That means that basically if Bregman wants to get back before the All-Star break, he's got to be back here within the next week or so, right? Essentially, maybe he comes back that weekend before the All-Star break just to get himself right. Maybe he treats those as sort of a rehab assignment instead of actually going on a rehab assignment, comes back as a DH for the last couple of games before the All-Star break. But regardless, this is big, right? I don't think anyone really expected Alex Bregman back before the MLB All-Star break, and to see this is absolutely fantastic. I feel like things have gone from, we talked about it just a second ago, right? Maybe you get him back before the deadline. Maybe he's sort of your deadline acquisition to, hey, this is going to be a guy who's going to be here for a majority of July in the span of like a week, right? And Saturday, we actually talked about this. We talked about the fact that the Red Sox are really going to do their full reassessment on Bregman's timeline at the end of this week. They're going to call it a week 6 check-in, basically. So I think we're going to get a really, really sort of in-depth timeline at that point towards the end of the week here. But I mean, you can't sit here and understate it enough, right? This team needs Alex Bregman. It's as simple as that, right? It's been a conversation we've had for a while now. The Red Sox simply needed to keep themselves afloat, basically, until you can get healthy. And it's not just Bregman, right? He's sort of the main piece here. But you also look around. You needed bullpen help. You needed rotational help. You needed the guys in the lineup to get healthy again. Well, you're starting to see that a little bit, right? You brought in Harrison and Hicks. Hicks made his debut last night. It looked really fantastic out of the bullpen. We'll see how that goes over the long run. Harrison's retooling himself in AAA to join this team at the probably midway point through July. You've got Masataka Yoshida on a rehab assignment, and you've got Alex Bregman, who's now saying, hey, I'm going to be back in the next 2 weeks, right? I mean, that's incredible. By the time the Red Sox get to the All-Star break, they could look like a legitimately different team, and that's honestly giving me a little bit of hope. I know that's crazy to say. I know, especially with the way the Red Sox have played this season, to say that there's any hope for this Red Sox team sounds a little bit ludicrous, but you look at the way the Red Sox are set up right now and the fact that your rookies are starting to perform here, and it's hard to sit here and say that you can't be at least a little bit excited about what this team could look like with Massa in the lineup, with Bregman in the lineup, with Hicks in the bullpen, with potentially Harrison in the rotation, right? Dobbins is getting a little bit healthier. He's starting to throw again. I mean, you're starting to look around. You're saying, okay, you know what? If you can get a little bit healthy, maybe things look a little bit different in the second half of 2025. I don't know, right? I don't know. I don't want to put anything on it, but overall, this is incredibly exciting news. And I don't think it was news that a lot of people were expecting. I was saying for a while that they were kind of keeping things under wraps, and I think this is why, right? I think Bregman had a really, really early return date, and they didn't want to get people excited. They didn't want to put all their hopes on Alex Bregman coming back, but this is really, really great. The last bit of news I wanted to cover in this video was a roster decision the Red Sox made last night, which really ended up being not a roster decision, and it has everything to do with Walker Buehler. Over his last 5 starts, Buehler hasn't exactly been fantastic. In fact, I would venture to say it's been a bit ugly. I don't think I'm really exaggerating there with saying that Walker Buehler has been a bit ugly in his performances lately. Over his last 5 starts, it's an 11.07 ERA. The FIP is up at 8.99. He has the same amount of walks in that stretch as he does strikeouts. I mean, yeah, it's just flat out ugly baseball, right? I think we're starting to really have the conversation, and I think it's been pretty loud lately as to whether or not Buehler even deserves a spot in this rotation going forward, right? Are they going to end up DFAing him? Are they going to end up Phantom ILing him? Is there a world in which he takes an option down to AAA to work on some things? Maybe a bullpen stint is something in the future. At the bare minimum, is there a skip in the rotation coming from Walker Buehler? Well, the answer is no. The answer is nothing really is going to happen with Buehler, at least right now, because Alex Cora before the game yesterday basically said they're sticking with their dude. Quote, "This guy means a lot to us. We made a huge commitment in the offseason. He bet on himself, and right now it doesn't look like it's happening, but I truly believe it will happen." Basically saying he is making his next start for the Red Sox this season. I honestly don't know what I think about this, right? I sit here and I just, like, again, you look at it and it's like, okay, you know, if you're the Red Sox and you're trying to win baseball games, you're trying to get yourselves above water here. You're trying to do, at least that's what they tell us over and over again, is they want this 2025 team to succeed, right? They believe in this 2025 team. They're doing everything they possibly can to get them as many wins as humanly possible, right? That's what they keep telling us. But then you have situations like this where it's like Buehler is essentially what? Rehabbing himself at the major league level now? He's essentially retooling himself at the major league level. That's not what a really, truly competitive team does, right? They don't keep trotting this guy out, so what? He can get a better contract at the end of the season because we owe it to him because he bet on himself and signed a 1-year deal with the Red Sox. I don't entirely agree if that's the philosophy behind it. I do think the timing of everything's a little bit interesting. We just mentioned Kyle Harrison. If the Red Sox call Kyle Harrison up after the 5th of July, they do get an extra year of control over him because this year wouldn't be considered a full year in Major League Baseball, which is, I think a lot of people are assuming the timeline that the Red Sox are going for here with Harrison. Buehler's scheduled to make his next start on the 4th, right? Maybe this is something to do with it. Maybe they sit there and they say, well, Dobbins is injured, right? You don't really have a true, like, legitimate, hey, this guy's going to come out here and give you 5 innings of 3-run baseball in the minor leagues right now. Maybe they sit there and they say, okay, if we're just patient, we give Buehler one more start here, you know, we're going to try and figure things out. And if it doesn't, we've got Kyle Harrison that we can bring up the next day. And maybe that's the plan. And if that's the plan, okay, fine. I can kind of understand that, right? But again, you're still putting him out there for another start here. And to be honest with you, it's not like you could see anything in Walker Buehler's games over the last couple of times here where it's like, okay, you know, we're starting to make a little bit of a progression here towards you getting a little bit better. You could see where you can end up being a successful pitcher. I just don't see that, right? I understand that last start wasn't, you know, 3 innings, 7 earned runs with 10 walks or whatever it was against the Angels. So it was a nominal progression here, but he still didn't look fantastic. He was giving up hard contact. He settled in and then he just fell apart again. Walks, hit batsmen. It just continued to be the same issues over and over again. There hasn't really been any progression here with Walker Buehler, and I think the biggest reason for that is because his fastball is not playing this season. Walker Buehler without a fastball is just simply not an effective pitcher. He's relying too much on his off-speed stuff and his cutter to get swings and miss. And guys are sitting there in the batter's box and they're saying, well, I'm not going to swing at the slider on the outside of the plate here. That's probably going to be called a ball because I know if I don't swing at that, you're going to have to come in at me with a fastball. And that fastball's flat as hell right now. I'm going to park it on Lansdowne Street. You know what I mean? Like there's just not really anything here right now, in my opinion, where you sit there and you say, oh yeah, if Walker Buehler makes this little tweak here, he's going to be, again, a really effective pitcher. I just don't see that happening. It's going to take a little bit to get there, and I just don't understand the real reasoning here as to why the Red Sox are sitting there saying, we're going to live and die by this guy. I just don't get it, right? It's a short-term deal. You're not committed to this guy for a long period of time. You keep telling us you're trying to win right now. Why is he making another start, right? The bare minimum, I figured they'd at least skip a start or at least try him out in the bullpen for a little bit, but they aren't doing any of those things. Again, I'm going to reserve judgment one more start here on Walker Buehler from the Red Sox. I think I'm kind of totally out on Buehler right now. For the Red Sox point of view, I kind of can understand it if they're saying, look, we just need to push this guy until we can get an extra year of control from Kyle Harrison. But either way, in my opinion, this is a really, really strange decision. And like I told you, this video is going to be all over the place, right? We got on-field news, we got off-field news, we got good news, we got bad news. It's all over the place. So let me know in the comment section down below which one stood out to you the most. Was there a story in here that means more to you than the other ones? Is there anything I missed? Was there news that came out yesterday that you're like, Corbin, we got to talk about this? Let me know if there is in the comments down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, though, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It just simply helps out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Don't forget, if you guys want to listen instead of watch, all you got to do is head over to your favorite podcasting app and look up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.